Hello and welcome to The Print. Will Nitish Kumar take oath as the Chief Minister of Bihar once again, or can Tejasvi Yadav lead Mahagathbandhan to victory? And is Prashant Kishor really the X factor in these elections? Of course, we have many of these questions that we will look forward to answering as the day progresses. All eyes are set on Bihar at the moment. For this live today, I'm joined by two of my colleagues. We have our political editor DK Singh and my colleague Sanya Dhingra. We may also have more of our colleagues joining in as the live progresses. We have our colleague Sourav Roy Barman joining us straight from the ground as well. Starting from you, DK, what do the trends show so far, and was this expected?
Apoorva, actually, I wanted to correct you when you were introducing. Now, those questions, two of those questions are irrelevant now. There is no way that Tejasvi Yadav is going to lead the Mahagathbandhan to victory. He has led the Mahagathbandhan to decimation, let's say. Prashant Kishor, is he a factor? Not at all. It was a valiant effort, but he's not a factor. As we see, it's early yet, but his vote share is around 4% right now. It may go up a bit, but he being a factor, no. It's a landslide victory for the NDA. Apoorva, I think I can't hear
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Yes, sorry about that. What, according to you, worked in the NDA's favor?
Well, first of all, they have very solid social coalition. Look at them. So EBCs have been behind Nitish Kumar. EBCs, I mean, largely with Nitish Kumar. Even Prime Minister Modi has a lot of support base among them. We are talking about 36% OBCs, EBCs. Then even if you remove Yadavs from the OBC uh, category, that okay, you don't consider them. Again, we are talking about almost 13% OBCs. And then the Dalits. Look, Bihar PCC Chief Rajesh Ram may be a Dalit, but he's not a face. Nobody knows him. Look at the Dalit faces they have. They have Jitana Maji, they have Chirag Paswan. So this social, you Dalits are over 19% in Bihar. So bring 36%, 19 plus percent on 20%, then you bring about 13% of OBCs. Just add them. It's an unbeatable coalition. Unbeatable. If people, as we know, Bihar, generally the voting choices are driven by a caste and more than in any other state. And if say like Prashant Kishor, who could have could have been a game changer, and people were expecting that probably he would break this ossified kind of voting behavior in Bihar and bring something new. That has not happened. People have again like this caste coalition has worked, and NDA was unbeatable, of course. The second factor, of course, the 10,000 rupees to 1.40 crore women. It's a huge thing. I mean, 10,000, even cities, things change. For somebody in Bihar, which is barely 12% urbanized, just imagine in a village, a woman getting 10,000. So 1.4, you multiply that number even by 2, it's huge. You don't even need to multiply that. So these two factors were most dominant. Third, I would say it's not just the victory of the NDA, it's the total rejection of the opposition as well. The way they have been decimated, because they completely lacked in imagination. The moment Tejasvi said that we will be giving a job to each household. Now Bihar has 2.676 crore household. How are you going to create 2.76 crore jobs, government jobs he was talking about? There only he lost the plot. It was very clear he was getting desperate. He had no hope. I mean, nobody would make such kind of a crazy promise. Only somebody who is desperate, who has already lost, would have such fanciful ideas. So that total lack of imagination in opposition politics is another factor. The fact is, Tejasvi Yadav has not been able to move beyond his father's vote bank, that is Muslims and Yadavs. And it has been reaffirmed by this verdict too.
DK, since you mentioned so many factors, especially mentioned Prashant Kishor, I want to come back to you about it. But since Saurav has joined from the ground and he seems to have decent network right now, Saurav, we have audience questions also coming in. Aditya is asking, what are the lessons for Congress in this election? Since you've been tracking the party so far, could you list some of those down for us?
I think the biggest lesson for the party, for the Congress party, would be to listen to the people, to keep its ears to the ground. I'm saying this because they led this very aggressive the yatra, voter adhikar yatra in Bihar. Rahul Gandhi made it his centerpiece, the centerpiece of his campaign in Bihar. When it had actually no resonance on the ground, even his coalition partners were aware of this fact, which is why you had Tejasvi Yadav taking out a separate yatra right after the voter adhikar yatra, because he could feel that, he could see that, he could sense that people are not, they are not really overly bothered about this campaign chori narrative, this vote chori narrative. They didn't really feel their votes, their votes were being taken away, their welfare benefits were getting impacted in some manner. So I think that is the biggest lesson for the Congress party. Listen to the people.
Saurav, you can just add one
Saurav,
sentence to that. Another lesson is, the biggest lesson is, stop looking for excuses for your failures.
Right, right. Stop looking for excuses. In fact, Rahul Gandhi, in a way, admitted failure in his last press conference when he brought out that he made the presentation on vote chori in Haryana, where he spoke about how the Congress party will again be in a position to show that votes have been, stolen even in Bihar in a similar manner. So, by saying that, in a way, he had already accepted that the Congress party is not going to do well.
In fact, you look at them, they actually behave like entitled politicians. Now, look at both Tejasvi and Rahul. Rahul, he does that vote chori yatra, vote adhikar yatra, and then he's out of Bihar for the next 7 8 weeks. The next 7 weeks, he's nowhere to be seen. Tejasvi Yadav. Now, I was in Bihar that day. Now there were rains. His helicopter could not take off. Now Nitish Kumar could go out. He took the road. He went to nearby constituency by car. Tejasvi Yadav decided to stay put in his Patna house because the helicopter was not going to take off because of weather conditions. That kind of entitled politics is actually hated by the voters.
Exactly. You can't have a situation where you actually lead a yatra, where you completely fire up your cadre base, and you go around the state for 2 weeks, and you show, bring in infuse some amount of energy in your rank and file, then you completely go missing, and you are not seen in the state till the eve of the elections. So that is not how you can really counter election in, a political behemoth like the BJP or the JDU even in Bihar. Or you cannot really counter Nitish Kumar, against whom you did not really have a strong anti-incumbency sentiment on the ground.
This is another question that came in the morning live for both DK and Saurabh. What is the future of India alliance going forward? Because even in the 2020 elections, Congress seemed to have really pulled down the Mahagathbandhan. So, what is the future that both of you see for the India alliance?
Apurva, we discussed it earlier also. India alliance is only for floor coordination. That alliance actually does not really exist as it came up. Existing allies who were there with the Congress before the 2024 elections also, they have continued. So you will have DMK, you'll have other parties, say in Tamil Nadu, or they're going for alliance in other states. But going forward, say in West Bengal, for instance, now Mamata Banerjee is not going to touch the Congress even with a barged pole. She does not need the Congress. She has seen it again. In the Bihar polls have actually vindicated her decision to stay away from the Congress. So there may be a floor strategy in parliament during sessions just to target the government, but politically, electorally, they won't really be doing it in the states. In Kerala, of course, you'll have LDF and UDF fighting. So there's again the India bloc does not exist there. So India bloc as it is does not exist. It exists at the state level as it used to be.
In fact, Aditya had asked this question. Do you think, looking at these results, Mamata Banerjee will go solo for the Bengal election and won't include Congress into the alliance? Aditya DK has already answered that question for you.
See,
Moving to
what
Sanya.
does the Congress bring to the table, Apoorva? So in
Hmm.
Bihar, for instance, now we were talking with some RJD leaders there. They were saying that that Muslim consolidation, Muslims have started rallying behind the Congress in several states. They did not want that vote bank to split. Then there was this thing that this Rahul Gandhi brings some energy, his courage together, and Congress votes get transferred to other parties too. But Congress is not strong enough to even have those votes. What does the Congress bring to Mamta table? You may hurt Mamta probably in a couple of constituencies, 3, 4 constituencies, but that's about it, if at all. That is if at all. So there is nothing the Congress offers to Mamta Banerjee today. I don't think Mamta Banerjee will be even interested in talking with the Congress about the alliance.
Right. Moving to Sanya now. Sanya, DK mentioned that one of the factors could have been the 10,000 rupees being transferred to women. And we also saw that the voter turnout among women was the highest this year ever since independence. You were on the ground, you spoke to several women voters. What were the women saying? And do you think that played a role in the numbers that we're witnessing right now?
See, Apoorva, one thing is obviously women came out to vote in large numbers, but one thing is very clear: it's difficult to reduce how women voted to just one scheme. There's often there's no single causality that women would have voted only because of, say, the Jivika scheme. For example, I met several Muslim and Yadav women who I felt were not ready to leave their traditional voting patterns just because of the scheme. But having said that, for a lot of other women, it was a major pull factor, and that's why it seems like even though Bihar has been associated traditionally with a lot of identity politics, it seems that that tag of identity politics has now been restricted to the RJD, where it's only the RJD that is associated with Muslim and Yadav politics, and Nitish Kumar has, and even the BJP to a certain extent, did seem to have transcended that tag of identity politics, and especially with regard to women, it was very obvious that Nitish Kumar had a lot of goodwill among women, and that does seem to have that does seem to show in how in the voting results as of now, the trends.
Sanya,
Uh,
just to add to that, probably it's a bit early to talk about this. We'll have to look at the final results. But the NDA might have made a huge dent into this MY vote bank also. So I was just looking at, before coming here, I was looking at some certain constituencies where Muslims are in the majority. Say Kishanganj, for instance. In Kishanganj, you have BJP's Sweetie Singh, who had lost to the Congress in 2020, in 2015. She was leading by about 6,000 votes. We are talking about Kishanganj Assembly constituency. I was looking at Araria constituency. Now, in Araria, JDU candidate, who is a Muslim woman, Shagupta, she was leading by about 4,000 5,000 votes last I checked. Look at Purnia. BJP candidate is leading there so far. So we don't know how things will consolidate. We'll have to wait for a couple of hours more to see whether that lead continues. But early indications are that the NDA has already made that huge dent into the MY vote bank too.
DK, could you elaborate on how they were able to do this, to consolidate this vote bank?
No, as I said, this 10,000 rupees is a big deal. Plus, the opposition has nothing to offer. So I'm not saying that Muslims have completely shifted. Could be that there is total counter polarization. Counter polarization might have happened in a big way. Plus, this cash transfer. And don't forget, it's not just about 10,000 because the NDA has promised that after coming to power, we can give you 2 lakh rupees more if you have started some business with this 10,000. So it's not that it's over with that 10,000. People are still actually looking forward to getting more. And you can call that
And this
aspirational politics. Probably that's a pun, but if that is aspirational politics we are talking about, well, it has worked.
And just to add to that, Apoorva, sorry, the audio is very poor, so I'm struggling to hear. But just to add to the women bit, one thing I have to say is that the whole the burden of the RJD rule, the 90s rule of the RJD, and the whole narrative of the Jungle Raj did seem to me that it was playing out in a very big way. It was a major source of skepticism for women, young women especially, who might not have grown up in the 90s in Bihar, but they have time. These stories have traveled from their parents to them, and most young girls who I met were extremely skeptical. Now it's obviously one thing to have a narrative, because it's not that Bihar was much safer in the 80s under the Congress rule, but that narrative seems to be quite have played out quite well on the ground, and women continue to be very skeptical of this Gunda Raj image of the RJD, despite Tejasvi's efforts to kind of transcend that.
Actually, that can also be explained by the fact that Tejasvi has failed to come out of his father's shadow. In 2020, given his enthusiasm, we thought that he was probably preparing to get out of the shadow. But after that, he went back into the shell, and you did not really see him doing much over the next 5 years until around the election time. So he has failed to break that. He continues to be what Lalu Yadav used to be, having the same vote bank. That will not work election after election.
Since Sanya and DK also, all of them mentioned Jungle Raj, coming to my colleague Mayank here. Mayank traveled across Bihar as well, mapping out constituencies where the dons of Bihar and their spouses or children were fighting. Mayank, could you elaborate a little bit on these constituencies, and how did you think the Jungle Raj narrative was also faring on the ground?
So, as Sanya said, the Jungle Raj narrative and say the reign of Lalu and then Ravdi Devi was a big baggage and a political baggage for Tejasvi Yadav that he could not step out of. But in some constituencies, especially where there's a direct shadow of those Jungle Raj narrative, I don't think there is much that we can take away from, because see, in Mokama, just 50 to 60 kilometers away from Patna, Anand Singh, he is winning, although he's from JDU. So politically, he cannot be seen as a baggage for Tejasvi Yadav, because he came from, he joined JDU and he has been winning since 2005. And his rise is also coinciding with the rise of Nitish Kumar in the state politics. But in opposition to him is Suraj Bhan Singh and his wife. So the Jungle Raj narrative was not an important factor there per se, although both the politicians battling out in open were convicted. So Suraj Bhan was convicted in 2008. Anand Singh was also convicted. His challenge to conviction is pending before Patna High Court. So the poster boys of Jungle Raj are still there, but that did not dent the JDU. But yes, that did dent RJD. But say in Siwan, so overall, it might have hurt RJD, the narrative of Jungle Raj, but in Siwan, in Raghunathpur constituency of Siwan specifically, Osama Sahib, the son of Muhammad Sahabuddin, again, another poster boy of Jungle Raj, made by BJP, JDU, and every senior politicians from the ruling alliance, say from Amit Shah to JP Nadda, from Himanta Biswa Sarma to Yogi Adityanath, made the legacy, the past of Muhammad Sahabuddin, the whole narrative in Raghunathpur. But I don't, at least the numbers suggest that has not affected his political chance. This is his first political inning. He is making his debut after both him and his mother, Hina Sahib, returned to RJD, because when Hina Sahib contested in Lok Sabha elections, even then she polled more than 3 lakh votes, denting the chances of RJD. So RJD had to go back to Osama Sahib. We also done a story on it, that what were the reasons behind RJD going back to the Sahabuddin family. So overall, yes, RJD was affected and dented by the narrative of Jungle Raj, but on seats where gangsters turned politicians are fighting, I don't think, at least by the numbers and the early trends, that on these specific constituencies, the Jungle Raj narrative had something different to offer.
Look at Mokama. You have Suraj Bhan Singh's wife versus Anand Singh. I mean, both are not wives. Suraj Bhan Singh, he's the face. I mean, both are gangsters, dreaded gangsters with so many murder cases against them. Now you have this incident where Dular Chand Yadav is shot and run over by a car actually following Anand Singh's, you know, in his entire cavalcade. What happens? Now you see, if there, generally you'd expect there would be some kind of sympathy factor working for the Jan Suraj candidate whose supporter was killed. What happens? If you look at it, I was looking at the trend. Last I saw, he was barely getting 200 votes. The Jan Suraj candidate. It's between the two gangsters, Anand Singh and Suraj Bhan. And that's how it works.
And just to add to that, if the trends persist and Anand Singh go on to win, this will be the third straight term that he will be winning an assembly election from jail. He was in jail in 2015. He was in jail in
Nobody is asking. Anand Singh was convicted in a murder case that was set aside by a court. Nitish Kumar government has not even gone in for an appeal against that verdict.
The crime was even more heinous, that AK-47 and other ammunitions were recovered allegedly.
Not murder case. It was weapons.
Allegedly from his ancestral house in Nadwa. He went missing. Then in a dramatic way, he appears before a court in Delhi. He surrenders here. Then he blames Lalan Singh of JDU that they made a political conspiracy to get him arrested. Then he goes to jail. Then in 2022, he gets convicted. Then again, he kills his wife. So this is a classic script playing out in Bihar, and the same script has been adopted by Suraj Bhan Singh this time, because since he was convicted in 2008, he cannot contest. So his wife gets the ticket. And even this is a interesting backstory about how Suraj Bhan Singh got this ticket. So when JDU made its move that Anand Singh will be its candidate, RJD was thinking that Piyush Priyadarshi, who is Jan Suraj's candidate now, there was talk among RJD that he could be their candidate. But since Anand Singh's candidature was finalized by JDU, RJD went back and they had a meeting with Suraj Bhan Singh, and all this event took place, I think, 2 to 3 weeks before the election was declared. So Suraj Bhan Singh goes to RJD patriarch Lalu Prasad Yadav. They have a meeting, and then his wife Veena Devi gets the ticket. So as DK sir said, you don't have a choice in Mokama, at least, to get out of the narrative of the Jungle Raj.
Mayank mentioned, for all our viewers, Mayank mentioned his article. All of my colleagues here have been on the ground covering the elections. They've written some wonderful articles. Go check those out. And as for today, we have a live blog running on our website as well. Plus, we'll keep coming in live. So do keep checking out our website as well as our YouTube channel. Sanya, before I go back to DK about the PK question, which is on everybody's minds, a lot of our viewers are also sending in questions about that. Sanya, one question for you on the left parties in 2020. You had in fact written an article about how well they did despite facing a near complete wipeout from the electoral map of the rest of the country. How do you see them performing this time, and what did you observe on the ground about the sort of support that they've received so far?
So, Apoorva, if you see the trends right now, then the CPI-ML's tally is the exact same as the Congress's tally. So both of them are leading at 6 seats right now. So that tells you something both for the Congress and the CPI-ML. But obviously, if this trend also continues, then this is also a 50% decline from how the CPI-ML performed the last time in 2020, because together at that point the left parties had secured 16 seats and CPI-ML alone had secured 12 seats. So again, there were two reasons given for the left's performance in the last election. One was that this was the first time the CPIML had come in alliance with the RJD, and that therefore the result could be interpreted as it piggybacking on the RJD, and therefore getting a strike rate of over 60%, which was extremely impressive. But now we see it seems to have halved, going by the trends, and that can also be explained by the fact that since the Mahagathbandhan, all of it has performed poorly. Even the left's votes have gone down. But the fact that CPIML is still leading on 6 seats, the CPIM is still leading on 1 seat, tells you that there is some kind of grassroots presence that these parties have in Bihar, and we have written about this because Bihar has had a history of what one can perhaps only call class struggle, has had a history of very violent caste wars, and that one has to understand that legacy to understand why, despite an almost an electoral drought in the rest of the country, the left parties in Bihar continue to show some signs of robust survival, despite them losing power even in Bengal and Tripura.
Before I move on to DK, since Sourav has joined us again, Sourav, give us a sense of the mood on the ground now, since we know that NDA is headed for a landslide win in Bihar. What are you seeing around you?
Right now I'm in the RJD office. As you can see behind me, you still have watching street. They were initially see when the postal ballot numbers were coming in. I could see many of them rejoicing, but that sense of joy has completely dissipated. And I also spent some time at the local nearby JDO office where the crackers have started going off. Leaders have started gathering. Workers have really trooped in large numbers to office. I'm yet to visit the BJP office, but I believe the mood will be somewhat similar, upbeat.
Saurabh, because Delhi BJP has decided not to celebrate because of the terror attack near Red Fort. So I am not sure whether the BJP in Patna will be
Yeah.
celebrating that way. But I think JDU office is the place to be now. Isn't it?
Yeah. JD office is really place to be. I mean, you had a couple of minutes ago, Ramnath Thakur actually entered the office to a rousing reception. So the big leaders have gradually now started coming in. But you have a large gathering of workers celebrating and raising slogans of Tiger Abhi Zinda Hai. So you have posters of Tiger Abhi Zinda Hai, Nitish Abhi Zinda Hai, the compelling likening Nitish to a tiger. So they have actually plastered the JDO office with that poster. So they are rejoicing. It's they're in a celebratory mood right now.
Celebrations are in order. Okay. So we have audience questions also coming in. But before that, DK, you wrote a column on this as well. But the question is, why couldn't PK be Bihar's AK? Why couldn't he be a phenomenon like
PK
Arvind
also knew
Kejriwal?
that. That's why he was saying Arsh or Fars. Basically, is Bihar ready for that change, that transition? Because Bihar is known to be ossified when it comes to the caste based politics. It doesn't change. So PK created a lot of buzz, but don't forget it was his first time, and people don't really believe. People don't really believe in the JSP or PK forming the government this time. As we know, people don't really want to waste their votes. What PK was banking on was the migrants who had come for Chhat, as he was telling that there were about 50 lakh migrants who came back to Bihar for Chhat, and they would be voting for, most of them would be voting for the JSP and some of their family members too. He was banking very big on them, but as it is, our voters still don't trust a newcomer to basically form the government, and they would not like to waste their votes as it has happened. What we have to see now, whether if PK gets just about 4 or 5% of the votes, although he has been maintaining that he will stick around, he has given himself 10 years in Bihar, 3.5 years he has spent, he has still 7.5 years to go. So he'll stick around until 2030 at least. That's what he says, but given this kind of response, it's much below his expectation, just 4% or 5%. With that kind of response, would he reconsider his strategy? Or will he stay put? That's what we have to see now. Apoorva, I think we've.
Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So a follow-up question on that, Aditya is asking, do you think with Prashant Kishor not doing so well, will it establish the fact that Bihar would remain a two-party phenomenon with RJD and JDU and no third party can do well?
No, I think there is a good chance for Prashant Kishor to actually establish his, to go for further consolidation because, look, Tejaswi is a gone case. He does not inspire confidence. Next 5 years, what happens to him, we don't know. Lalu Prasad Yadav is quite old. That MY combination that works for Lalu Yadav, will that sustain? Because we already see that dent happening. Or people get actually edgy. I mean, enough is enough. You're not getting anything. So that opposition space is almost vacant as you have at the national level. When people are totally disillusioned with you, you have certain core vote bank. Say with the Congress, for instance, Congress has 20% at least people voting for the party all the time, but it has not been able to expand. Now, if you're not able to expand one election after another, even that core vote bank starts reconsidering its options. See, in Bihar, it's the same thing. Now, Tejaswi is actually, he's not able, not even retaining his father's vote bank, his party's vote bank of MOI. He has started losing that. So there's a big opposition space opening in Bihar. And look, Nitish Kumar, he's not going to be there for 5 years all the time, I mean, in power. Again, JDU going with BJP, what BJP does to the JDU that we have to see. So you have options, you have great opportunities for a new party like JSP to stay put and expand its base.
There's another question. I mean, it's more of a statement, but I'd like it to be taken as a question. Dhairya Chauhan is saying that Tejaswi has been rejected by Bihar. RJD needs a new face or else will end up like Congress under Rahul. Do you agree with this, that it needs a new face?
Absolutely, absolutely. Tejaswi is very uninspiring. I told you, the moment I heard him declaring that 2.7676 crore new jobs, government jobs to be created, then only it was very clear that leadership is not there in him. I mean, he just lost it.
There are more questions coming in, so I'm going to take up more audience questions. So appealing to all our audience to keep sending us your questions. We'll be taking a few more of them. Aditya is asking a more forward-looking question. He's asking, do you think that with this success, Nitish Kumar can safely bring his son into central leadership and can prepare him for 2030 elections?
Many of his party colleagues want that because they know once Nitish Kumar is not at the central stage, once he steps down, the JDU will split because it's a one-man party, and many of the leaders will go to the RJD, to the BJP. Others will be looking for other alternatives. So some of his lieutenants who are very close to him, they want his son to be promoted now. But that will be a pity, I mean, because Nitish Kumar has always stood against dynasty. If he lets his son to be projected like that, it will be a big, big pity, in fact. I don't really see that happening, but we never know. I mean, at some point, if Nitish Kumar says, okay, fine, I'm stepping down, bring my son up, that won't really be fair to his legacy as somebody who has stood against dynastic politics. But we never know in politics.
Sourav, coming to you now, there was a lot of lack of cohesion that may have been visible within the Mahagathbandhan, especially initially with regard to vote sharing or the announcement of their CM phase. Do you think that cost them on the ground? Sourav,
we
you have
cannot
to
hear you.
unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Am I audible now?
clear. Yes.
Yeah. So I think more than the CM phase, that part came later. One could see that lack of cohesion during the seat sharing talks. Congress had its best man, Krishna Alavaru, very close to Rahul Gandhi, steering the seat sharing talks, driving a really hard bargain with the RJD leadership. But then I think it's all there for all of us to see in the results. And in fact, if you remember, Congress had to send its old warhorse, Ashok Gehlot, who had to really talk to the RJD leadership, who had to really intervene, meet Lalu Prasad, meet Tejashwi, and bring some semblance of order in the alliance. And eventually, again, I keep repeating how this dealing over the CM phase, when you had to announce Tejashwi Yadav by the CM phase, what was this whole drama? What was this whole wait? What was the whole delay about? Why did you wait till the last moment? Why did you need someone like Ashok Gehlot to fly down from Rajasthan to talk Lalu Prasad? What exactly was Krishna Allavaru doing? And Krishna Allavaru was actually heckled by Congress party workers in the Patna airport. So there were questions about seat sharing. There were allegations that seats were being sold in lieu of money. So there are serious questions that the Congress leadership needs to answer, because Krishna Allavaru is someone who's close to the Gandhi family, who's close to Rahul Gandhi. And he was the one who was steering the entire ship of the Congress party. Congress, BJP leader, the local unit of the Congress party, many veteran leaders actually felt sidelined. You had someone like Shakil Ahmed, who actually has quit the party, who's a veteran Congress face in Bihar. He's been a union minister. He's been a party man for decades. He has actually resigned from the party. You had questions from others as well. Many other leaders, Akhilesh Prasad Singh, many others raised serious questions over the way the seat sharing talks were handled by Krishna Allavaru.
Apoorva, the big picture is why would anyone vote for the RJD or Rahul Gandhi? What do you bring to the table? The question I was discussing earlier. What do you offer? Is there an alternative politics they're talking about? Are they bringing something new to the table? There's nothing. So people will actually go back to the tried and tested people, tested politicians, like say Nitish Kumar. Does Tejaswi inspire any confidence? Or does his politics inspire any confidence? No. Does Rahul Gandhi's politics inspire confidence, that vote chori and all that negative politics? No. So we can discuss about what happened, the lack of coordination and bad.
DK, we lost you for a minute. Can you hear us, DK? Okay, in the meantime, Saurav, we have an audience question coming in for you. Since you mentioned Krishna Allavaru, Aditya is asking, what is the future of someone like Krishna Allavaru, who was Bihar chief? Will he be made the scapegoat and asked to resign? He did the initial negotiation and candidate selection.
No. He's not being asked to resign anytime soon. He was not the Bihar chief. He was the Bihar in charge. He was the Bihar Prabhari of the Congress party. He was basically the All India Congress committee in charge of Bihar. You have in charges for every state. So Krishna Allavaru was the Bihar in charge. Rajesh Ram is actually he's a Dalit leader. He's actually the Bihar Congress president in the state. But no, I don't think Krishna Allavaru will be asked to resign. He may offer to resign. I expect that happening in a couple of hours, maybe in a day or two. He will offer to resign because Congress has really slumped to its worst defeat in decades in the party in Bihar. Not just the Congress, actually, it's the worst defeat for both the Congress and RJD since 2010. And that election really marked the rise of Nitish Kumar in Bihar. He came back with a stupendous mandate of 115 seats, and I think something similar is playing out standing in 2025, where the RJD and the Congress are performing really, really badly, and the Congress and the JDU have really come up with really huge numbers, and it's a landslide for them. So I think he's going to offer to, to answer Aditya, he might offer to resign. And it won't be a big deal for the Congress High Command to accept his resignation. It might happen. I mean, the elections are over. You'll have a new in charge in a few months. You'll have a new election 5 years later. So it's no big deal. But Krishna Allavaru is not going anywhere. He's not going to resign from the primary membership of the Congress party. He's going to rise.
I hope that answers your question, Aditya. So, Sanya, coming to you, you were on the ground as well. I'd like you to speak about the PK phenomenon as well. What did you see on the ground? What do you think worked for him? What wasn't working for him at all? What did you see on the ground?
Apoorva, just before I can come to the PK question, I that time when BK was talking about how the NDA seems to have made a dent to the Muslim vote as well, I was not able to hear very clearly, but that seems quite obvious right now, and I think that is a major one of the major sub stories of this election, because of the 24 seats in Simhanchal, I have to point out that the NDA is leading on some 15 seats. So, and these are seats with a Muslim population of about 40%, 50%, etc. So, it does seem that one, there has been a massive consolidation of the non-Muslim vote that has happened, that the NDA has been able to pull off. And two, the OVC factor, which you meet a lot of people on the ground who tell you, who express skepticism about Owaisi being the B team of the BJP and so on. And last time Owaisi had sprung a surprise by winning 5 seats. This time again, Owaisi's party seems to be leading on 3 seats according to the Election Commission website, and already it seems it has managed to place spoiler in about 6 to 7 seats, which could have gone the Mahagathbandhan's way if not for Owaisi's party. So it does seem that the Owaisi factor plus the consolidation of the non-Muslim vote in favor of the NDA has really helped reduce the significance of the Muslim vote even in the Muslim-dominated seats. Now, coming to your question about Prashant Kishor, that I've said this time and again, that the moment I hit the ground in Bihar, I found that Prashant Kishor's party Jan Swaraj was the most visible in terms of its campaign, a very opulent campaign. You could see three-wheelers of Jan Swaraj everywhere. There would be an entire day when I wouldn't see anyone from the RJD, but Jan Swaraj was very, very conspicuously present. And Dipankar Bhattacharya had made this statement about Prashant Kishor that the farther away you are from Bihar, the more significant Prashant Kishor seems. And I think that was in some way quite true, because Prashant Kishor did manage to really capture and create a narrative around the election in the media and outside Bihar, especially with his appeal among migrants. It seemed initially he did manage to ensure that the election, that one of the more important planks of this election is the question of migrants, which so far has been considered a very normal fact of life in Bihar, that one has to go out and work. But this was put to question for the first time, and Prashant Kishor needs to be credited for creating that sort of a narrative. But it does seem that it did seem to me that unless I, as a reporter, questioned people on Prashant Kishor, they were not bringing him up themselves. For them, their sort of responses about who they're going to vote for remain very ossified in their sort of caste identities. Nobody was bringing up Prashant Kishor. And when you would question them, their responses would be quite vacuously nice, that what he's saying is the right thing, and he's a youth face, he's talking about employment, migration, and so on. But it did seem to be more of this sort of a spectacular narrative that he had created, and people on the ground didn't seem extremely mobilized. But as DK said earlier, that I think was cognizant of the fact that this is not, it's perhaps not just this election he's fighting. There is going to be a massive leadership vacuum in Bihar with Nitish Kumar and Lalu both potentially going to retire from active politics. So we will see a leadership vacuum, and it is pretty obvious that in that space Prashant Kishor has managed to solidify his presence, even though the numbers are way, way below his expectations.
Before we close, I've noticed that we haven't mentioned Prime Minister Narendra Modi in this live at all. So just to bring that in and asking DK, how relevant do you think was the Modi factor in these elections?
Well, he's always a factor, but Bihar, it's not just Modi. So here in this election also it was more about Nitish Kumar. In fact, the narrative was also built around Nitish Kumar from the NDA side. But when we talk about consolidation of EBCs or OBCs, or non-other OBCs, when you talk about the support of women, it's not just Nitish Kumar's constituency, because Nitish Kumar has also gained from many welfare schemes launched by the center, by the Modi government for women. Say, for instance, free food grains, 5 kg food grains, houses, toilets, what the schemes launched by the Modi government. And so Narendra Modi is quite popular there in Bihar, as you see. So when we talk about Nitish Kumar's hold on a certain vote bank, it's the Prime Minister's vote bank too, and Prime Minister's popularity has only accentuated this. So it's always a factor. The fact that Biharis again, they expect that okay, fine, as long as you have an NDA government, Modi ji will also be backing Nitish Kumar. So it's not just about Nitish Kumar, it's the reliance on the Prime Minister's support to Nitish Kumar that is also driving them towards the NDA.
Okay, one last thing now, putting you on the spot, DK. It's just 12 noon, and we already know that we see that NDA seems to be headed for a victory. One liner lesson for all the parties that you think is the takeaway for all the parties from these elections: BJP, Congress, RJD, JDU, even for JSP, if you can give one liner lessons for all of them.
Well, for everyone, I would say this takeaway is very, very bad. And I hope it was not that this freebie politics works. That's the takeaway for every party in Bihar. And I think that's very unfortunate.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And thank you for our viewers watching, for engaging so well. I saw so many of viewer questions, subscriber questions. Do keep sending those in. We will have more lives as we go forward with the day. Thank you so much for watching.
Sourav Roy Barman. It's election day, it's counting day in Bihar, and we are in Patna. The initial results, the initial trends have just started pouring in, and going by the numbers so far, the ruling NDA of the JDU and the BJP combined seem to have taken a decisive lead over the Mahagathbandhan of the RJD, the Congress, and the left parties, and a few smaller parties as well. At the RJD office, the mood currently is quite somber. It was initially you had workers gathering enthusiastically, raising slogans, but that has completely dissipated right now. And right now, we are standing in the JDU office where, as you can see behind me, party workers raising slogans in favor of Nitish Kumar. And you have people raising slogans of Tiger Abhi Zinda Hai, Nitish Kumar is back with a bang. Remember, Nitish Kumar, Chief Minister of Bihar, according to many analysts and observers, they had kind of written him off. There were intense speculations on the condition of his health. This is Sourav Roy Barman in Patna. Keep watching this space for updates through the day.